Long before Christmas lights ever glowed in December skies, there was another night, quiet, endless, and filled with stars. A man named Abram stood in the desert, surrounded by sand and silence. He was old. His wife, Sarai, was old. And yet, in the stillness, God spoke a promise that would change the world. Look up at the sky and count the stars, if you can. So shall your descendants be. Abram tried to count. One star, then another. But they kept multiplying, too many for any man to name. In that moment, he didn't just see numbers. He saw hope. He saw a future that defied his reality, a promise whispered from the creator of the universe. This wasn't a casual conversation. It was a divine invitation to believe in the impossible. It's easy for us to forget that faith isn't always neat and tidy. Abram, later called Abraham, had his share of questions, doubts, even laughter at God's promise. He asked, "How can this be, Lord? I have no son." His question wasn't one of defiance, but of honest struggle. He was grappling with the gap between what he could see and what God had said. And God didn't ask him to understand the entire plan. He didn't lay out a step-by-step flowchart or a logical proof. He simply asked him to believe. We live in a world that worships what can be proven, what can be measured and quantified. We want 5-year plans and guaranteed outcomes. Yet Advent, this season of waiting, reminds us that real, unshakable hope often begins precisely where proof ends. It's in the space between the promise and the fulfillment that faith is forged. Just like Abraham, we often find ourselves looking up at our own metaphorical night sky, wrestling with things we can't control, an uncertain future, a silent phone, a diagnosis we never expected. That night, God made a covenant, a sacred promise, sealed not with ink on paper, but with his own divine presence. Fire and smoke passed between the pieces of an offering. It was God's solemn, unbreakable vow. His way of saying, "I will keep my word, even when you cannot keep yours. My faithfulness does not depend on your perfection." In that holy moment, Abraham knelt, overwhelmed by the weight and wonder of God's commitment. This wasn't just a promise for one old man in the desert. It was a promise for generations yet unborn, for his son, Isaac, his grandson, Jacob, and for a lineage that would wind its way through history, eventually leading to a small town called Bethlehem. It was a promise for a baby who would carry that ancient covenant to its ultimate completion. When we celebrate Advent, when we light the candles and decorate our homes, we are remembering that same promise stretching across time. The stars that Abraham saw are the very same stars shining over you tonight. And the child he waited for, through generations of longing, doubt, and hope, was born under those very stars. Jesus is the fulfillment of the covenant. He is the descendant who would bless all nations, the living, breathing proof that God never, ever forgets his promises. He is the yes to every question Abraham ever had, and to every question we have today. Maybe you're waiting for something too. A prayer that feels unanswered, a door that remains shut, a heart that is still in the process of healing. Advent isn't about rushing the wait or pretending the struggle isn't real. It's about learning to trust the one who made the stars, the one who keeps his word to you, just as he did for Abraham. So this Advent, take a moment, step outside, look up. The night sky is still telling the story. God keeps his promises. He always has, and he always will. Thanks for joining us for this story of faith. If it resonated with you, please consider subscribing for more stories of hope and light.